marketing or tech for a multi-unit restaurant brand, this report should hit you like a punch to the chest. The 2026 Guest Engagement Report from Data Delivers lays it out in black and white. We are losing guests. Not slowly, not subtly, we're bleeding them out. Let's start with a number that should make you uncomfortable. For the third straight year, brands walked into January with fewer active guests than the year before. In 2023, there were 34 million active guests in the data sheet. By the start of 2025, that number dropped to 24 million. That's a 30% erosion of your engaged base in 2 years. That's not a dip. That's a systemic failure. Now, here is where most people get it wrong. This is not just a traffic problem. This is a data and infrastructure problem. The study looked at 113 million credit card transactions across 77 million guests at more than 3,200 locations. The takeaway is brutally clear. Brands that can identify their guests and actually reach them retain 2.7 times more customers than brands that cannot. That's not a marketing lift. That's really survival. You're either building a system that knows your guest or you're watching them disappear. Let's talk about loyalty, because this is where a lot of teams hide and simply just don't want to look at the facts. Loyalty programs matter, but they are not the answer. Participation caps out around 15 to 20%. That means 8 out of 10 people walking into your restaurant are completely invisible to you. You can't reach them, you can't learn from them, you can't bring them back. They may come in, they definitely spend, but afterwards they basically vanish. And the data is absolutely ruthless here. In 2025, only 1% of inactive guests came back on their own. 1%. Everyone else required outreach. No outreach, no return. So let's stop pretending guests magically come back because the food is good. That is a comforting story, but it is also completely wrong. Now, let's look at what happens when you actually show up. Guests who received one-to-one marketing retained at 35%. Guests who could not be reached were retained at 14%. Same brand, same menu, same 4 walls. The difference is very clear. One group is known, the other group was ignored. Frequency tells the same story. Reachable guests visited 3.6 times more per year. Reachable guests visited 3.6 times per year. Everyone else sat at 2.8. That gap looks small until you multiply it across your system. That's real money, real margin, and real impact. Now the knockout punch is winning back. When inactive guests received targeted outreach, 9% came back. Without it, 1.4%. That gap is insane. It's about messaging. It's about capability. It's not about creativity. Your system either allows you to reach people or it doesn't. Now let's address the leak that no one wants to talk about. New guests. 88% of first-time guests never return without a direct engagement strategy. Let's say that again out loud. You are paying to acquire people who will never come back. If your average check is $30 and your acquisition cost is the same, which is exactly what BCG reported, you're at break even on the first visit. If they don't come back, you're losing. And most of them do not come back, unless you engage them immediately. With one-to-one marketing in place, second visit conversion jumps from 12% to 32%. That is all about infrastructure, not just optimization. So what can you do with this information? A lot, actually. But first, loyalty is not your retention strategy. It is one piece of it. The brands that are winning have built systems that identify guests beyond loyalty. They connect transactions to real profiles. They know who is active, who is fading, and who they can reach right now. The second takeaway is the math has changed. It costs around $30 to acquire a guest. It costs about $3 to retain one through direct marketing. Yet most brands are still pouring money into acquisition like it's 2015. That is completely backwards. Retention is not a marketing metric anymore. It's a business priority. The third takeaway is about timing. Timing is everything. The longer a guest goes quiet, the harder it is to bring them back. There is a window. It is short. Brands that act early win. Brands that wait, they lose. This is not theoretical. Proven in the facts and the data. In this study alone, retained and re-engaged guests generated over $400 million in trackable sales in 2025. That revenue did not come from chasing new people. It came from knowing the people already walking through the door and staying connected to them. The data is already, most likely, sitting in your systems. The question is simple. Are you actually built and set up to use it, or are you sitting on it while your guests walk away? And when you do get access to it, are you simply outputting new TV commercials or things that franchisees may want to see that have very little traction or measurable value? Or are you actually putting this data to work and engaging people within the messy middle where people actually act? Again, read The Quiet Killers. I lay it out with facts that the marketing funnel is a lie. People do not operate like that. And this report is actually adding more fuel to that fire. The fact is, if you are operating against a marketing funnel and hoping that you're going to see wins, you're looking at failure right in the face. It's just taking a little bit longer than it probably will actually in real life. I don't know. But you have to break away from that funnel and you have to start thinking of people as operating in this messy middle of exploration and evaluation and all of that. And retention is a part of that equation. Because as soon as they walk out that front door, they might as well have forgotten about your brand immediately. You have to be connected to them, and this report really reinforces that. A beautiful digital experience that allows for personalization and localization is one critical component. Loyalty programs that are activated beyond just blasting coupons at people has to be activated, and that is all driven by data. Not just collecting it, but being able to review it and understand what it is telling you. That is the critical next step for marketers and tech leaders. As always, I would love your feedback. I highly encourage you to download Data Delivers Report. It is fantastic. They did not pay me to do this, but it is rich with data and insights that you can activate today. So go ahead and go to the website and download it. I'll provide a link in the comments and the show notes. As always, I would love your feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Please give us 5 stars, rate us highly, review us, subscribe to us, all those things. It really helps us keep doing this. Until next time, cheers.